Hello, this is Don. I'm continuing on with our series, The 7 Critical Questions That You Need to Know About E-Learning Adoption. We had considered the main elements involved in e-learning, and we are now looking at the three main challenges facing e-learning. Considering some of the advantages we obviously outlined, what could go wrong? Um, E-learning, because it's a relatively newer field of learning and development, has a share of obstacles and pitfalls. You need to be aware of this as you look to engage and move into e-learning. You need to know where the potential problems lie and what you can do to mitigate and minimize those problems. The first of these difficulties and challenges comes in a wrong approach to content development. Typically, you see with e-learning, you are attempting to replace the instructor-led session in a classroom. So you need a lot of interactivity. You need people who are participating in e-learning to feel like there's still the presence of an instructor. How do you get to do this? Well, a lot of interactivity. You need to use video streaming. You need to use flash presentations and a lot of interactivity and interaction. You also need to use quizzes and assessments in creating that type of what I call comprehension, and essentially getting them to basically test out as they go through various stages. So sometimes it's difficult for a lot of people going into e-learning to just switch those steps, and a lot of people end up just using what I call a textbook version of your materials in an e-learning field. Now this can work certainly, but there are challenges to that because sometimes it can get boring. If a user is simply reading a bunch of words page after page after page, they might not necessarily get what you want them to do. Now, of course, if it's just compliance based, that might be all you need. But if you are attempting to impart knowledge and get them to improve their skills, then using a lot of interactive tools, a lot of flash-based presentations, assessments, and quizzes will tend to increase the return on your investment and certainly get those behaviors changed. So the first thing in the challenge sequence of the three challenges facing e-learning is the wrong approach to content development. The second challenge is the wrong use of authoring tools, or basically using the wrong authoring tools to try to get your e-learning across. Based on the first difficulty that we talked about, using interactivity, using some of these quiz tools and flash and video, a lot of people simply ask, well, how do I even get it done? Now, the problem is some of these tools can be downright complex. Can you imagine having to instruct your content developer to be a Flash programmer overnight, or a SCORM expert to code your presentations to basically suit the SCORM protocols? I mean, those things can be very, very complex, and so a lot of people opt to use desktop tools to help them create e-learning. The difficulty there is that some of these desktop tools can be downright expensive. I know tools that cost upwards of $1,400 to get into. Certainly for a lot of companies, this is not the route that they want to go, and it frankly is a deterrent for them adopting e-learning. And so these tools can be complex. Now, having said all of that, you've got to understand that there are companies out there that would help you with your content development, with uploading content, with getting going live, and even if you need technical support with other tools that you might be using, those companies can help you. eLeaP LMS is one such tool, such companies. They will actually help you with your content development and uploading it to get your account set up and going. So if you have any questions about which authoring tool is right for my content, to build interactivity, to build flash-based courses, to build videos and upload those in their quizzes, ask the folks at eLeaP, www.eleapsoftware.com or 502-291-4650. So the second difficulty is certainly adopting the wrong authoring tool. Of course, some of these learning management systems out there claim to have learning content management capability, which essentially means that they can also do content development or authoring. You've got to be aware that this might not necessarily be the case. It's important to research the content tool that you're using or the learning management tool you're using to see if they indeed have tools for authoring. eLeaP, for example, has an authoring tool, so you can certainly use that to create your courses and upload any of these features that we talked about. But you need to make sure that your learning tool has that capability. And of course, the third difficulty is the wrong system to use in delivering your e-learning content. Now, we've talked about why you need interactivity. We've talked about the different methods that you can incorporate interactivity into your courses, such as videos, streaming videos, such as quizzes, such as flash assessments, and so on and so forth. Well, you've got to understand that not all systems, e-learning delivery systems, can host all of these variety of formats. There might be systems out there that can only host Microsoft Windows files, and a lot of people that are using the Microsoft Windows protocol for the e-learning find that they cannot use it anywhere else. You're pretty much tied into the Microsoft systems, and that can be limited in some ways. So the content delivery system is very, very important. You need to find one that is flexible to be able to host videos. And when it comes to videos, you need to be aware of bandwidth. Does the content system charge you for bandwidth? What that means is if anytime somebody logs on there, they suck up the bandwidth off of the server, well, does that charge you anytime they log in there? In other words, it's not just by users, but by number of times they go in to view particular videos, and that could end up costing you if you don't get those questions answered. Can they host SCORM-based courses? Can they host flash presentations? Do they have the capability to do assessments? And here's another thing that you might not be aware of. Using forums and whiteboards for interactivity is actually very beneficial and very cost effective. So does the learning management tool, does the delivery system include all of that flexibility? And so you need to ask those questions before you even get started, because if you wait till it's too late, you will find that you would have wasted too much time creating content that nobody can host, or that the potential hosting company would cost you $250,000 just to do that for you. And of course, if you have any questions about any of these difficulties that I've talked about, remember, a lot of clients have already gone through some of these things and have had successful resolution from contacting the folks at eLeaP. Certainly let us know. We'll be happy to help. So again, to just run through the systems or the challenges that you might face in adapting e-learning, the number one challenge is obviously content development, getting your content in the e-learning friendly format, which uses videos and interactions and flash and SCORM and assessments. And then the second is getting the wrong authoring tool to be able to create that type of format. You need to be aware of all of the challenges out there regarding the content tools and the authoring tools. And the number three challenge, is about hosting that content eventually when you get to that point where you're ready to release this content to your employees, to your trainees, to your staff. You need to make sure that the content system, delivery system, is up to the task. Is it flexible enough? Does it cost you any extra for video-based content? Does it cost you any extra for adding in more course materials? You would not believe it. Sometimes people actually charge you for adding in 2 or 3 courses, as if anytime you added a sentence to your course, it's an extra charge to them. So you need to be aware of all of those difficulties. But you know what? E-learning is fun, is efficient, and it actually will streamline your operations. So give us a call if you have any questions, 502-291-4650, or go to our website, www.eleapsoftware.com. Thank you very much, and I hope this has been helpful.